The High Republic is an era in galactic history introduced in 2021 during the High Republic Multimedia Publishing Initiative by the same name. Set roughly 350 to 200 years before The Phantom Menace, the books show us a very different galaxy to the one that we see in the prequels. The Acolyte will be set in the tail end of this period, roughly 100 years before The Phantom Menace. So I figured I'd tell you a little bit about the era, explain why you're seeing different Jedi robes and different colored sabers, and anything else that you might need to know before the Acolyte comes out. The galaxy we see in the High Republic has seen a peace that has lasted just about 650 years prior to the events of the Phase 2 novels. With the exception of minor skirmishes, there have been no galaxy-spanning wars since the Jedi-Sith Wars ended. The Republic is expanding, technology is booming, and innovation is rampant. With this, a campaign to explore and chart the Outer Rim more closely has begun with hyperspace prospectors and their Republic Pathfinder teams. This period of time is known as the Great Hyperspace Rush, with many people, in an effort to chart new and unknown hyperspace routes, disappearing, or flying through a star, as Han puts it in A New Hope. It's a dangerous job, especially when coming into contact with new and wild planets like Planet X, or planets that do not wish to become part of the Republic. One of these systems was a binary planet system, Irem and Erino, locked in a forever war. The Jedi and the Republic worked to end it and bring the systems into the Republic. A cult known as the Path of the Open Hand, led by the Mother, believes the Force should not be wielded, and thus the Jedi harm the Force when they bend it to their will. The Path uses the Irem and Erino War to fight the Jedi, culminating in skirmishes like the Battle of Jedha and the Battle of Dalna. The Jedi work mostly as ambassadors for the Republic during the expansion period, which continues roughly 150 more years to the Phase 1 novels of the High Republic. The Outer Rim has been more broadly brought into the Republic, and the Jedi, looking to mark this progress, elect to build Starlight Beacon, a hub in the Outer Rim and a beacon for those traversing the new and still dangerous hyperspace routes carved by the prospectors 150 years prior. These years of peace and prosperity have bred ideals. The Jedi live up to their highest ideals, spreading light and peace where they go. The Republic has little corruption, and the Supreme Chancellor, or Chancellors, as is the case for Kyong Greylark and Chancellor Malo in the High Republic Phase 2 novels, work for the betterment of the people, and corporations do not have as large a sway on politics as they do in the Republic era we see in the prequels. Prisons are reformative instead of punitive. Bacta is a widespread invention of this time period, grown on the planet Hetzal. But what is the greatest threat to idealism? Nihilism. The Nihil are a band of marauders and pirates with a stranglehold on the Outer Rim, who do not take kindly to the Republic and the Jedi moving into their territory. They represent everything the Jedi and the Republic are not. They are only self-serving, with a chaotic structure that encourages weeding out the weak and rewarding cruelty. At the top of this hierarchy is Marchion Ro, the mysterious leader who controls creatures that eat the Force, discovered on Planet X by the Mother a century and a half earlier. These Nameless, or the Shri Karai, are a Jedi's worst nightmare, causing sickening hallucinations when their connection to the Force is lost. With his own personal vendetta against the Jedi, Marchion uses the Nihil, which he inherited from his father and a long lineage of Ro control, to destroy the Jedi and strike back against the Republic. He puts into motion the Great Hyperspace Disaster, destroying a ship in hyperspace, made possible by his special Path hyperspace drives, which launches debris at the speed of light to all places across the galaxy, including toward the planet Hetzal. Other large-scale conflicts of this time are the Drengir Crisis, in which Marshal to Starlight Beacon Avar Kriss leads a group against a species of ravenous carnivorous plants called the Drengir, who were released during the hyperspace disaster. The attack on the Valo Fair, and spoiler alert, even though it's on the cover of the book, the fall of Starlight Beacon. The Jedi during this time period wear gold robes as a sign of peace and prosperity, and to keep their idealistic image. They have extravagantly designed lightsabers, considered a special craft and unique to each Padawan, Knight, Master, and Wayseeker. What are Wayseekers? Wayseekers are Jedi who forego living at the temple and instead follow the will of the Force by traveling and helping those in need on a smaller, but no less important scale. Orla Jareni is one of those Wayseekers. If you buy a white Kyber crystal at Batu, you might hear her voice if you put it in a holocron. Another Jedi, a master at the age of 16, is Vernestra Ro, no relation to Marchion, Ro with a W in it. She's a Miri Allen, and was once Padawan to Stellan Gios, one of the most popular Jedi of the time and high-ranking member of the Council. She excelled for her age, and was the youngest Jedi to achieve Master and pass her trials. She also designed a purple lightsaber whip. She will be appearing in the Acolyte, looking good for 116, so keep an eye out for her and her purple whip saber. The general wide berth of lightsaber colors in this period of time is also a sign of the Order flourishing, with each Jedi able to personally express themselves with robes and saber hilts different from the more ascetic lifestyle the Jedi lived during the prequels. The Jedi of the High Republic were described by the authors of the Multimedia Project as the Knights of the Round Table, a high standard and idealized version of themselves. Extending that metaphor, you could say that the Republic, at this time, is Camelot. 100 years later, we seem to be seeing some of the practices of the Multimedia Project Jedi still in effect, the gold robes in particular. If books aren't your thing, Jedi Survivor gives us a great look at the general aesthetic of the era. Dagan Gera, one of the main villains of the game, is garbed in High Republic robes, as he is from that era, and the shattered moon that orbits Kobo was destroyed in the Great Hyperspace Disaster. The Nihil even make a cameo. Check that out. The High Republic was expanded from the books and comics to audio dramas, video games, and now its own show. It's safe to say that this era is here to stay, and will only be more fleshed out as we go forward. So keep an eye out for more videos about it. For Light and Life.